For me, it's the moment that he gets it that is absolutely glorious.
I think if you look at Bridget Phillips interview with Times Radio, sorry for mentioning Arrival show, in
We're confident enough.
June last year, quite right, where she was saying that under her preferred interpretation of the law, trans women should use women's bathrooms. That wasn't the position she was adopting during the election campaign. And the reality is, Labour shadow ministers, as they then were repeatedly unable to give a straight answer to the question of both what is a woman and whether trans women should be using women's only spaces. In that sense, I'm afraid, it just doesn't wash to say that there has been consistency, because there hasn't been.
Right, but there has been, and what we have to do now is talk about the protections of trans women and trans men who are often left out of the debate. And actually, I think within this debate, I actually think we shouldn't have debates anymore without a trans man or a trans woman being included in the debate, because it's always talking about them without them. And in regards to bathrooms, which is always this sort of vexed issue, what really concerns me is that, trans women should, in my opinion, of course, still continue to use women's bathrooms. They can't,
that's literally not what the law says.
But let me just
that's
let
the
me
whole
just
point
talk
of this
through
ruling.
safe spaces. There's not been a safe space is a safe space. I do not police people in public toilets. And I think that's where we're getting to as society, in policing what a woman looks like. You know, I have a butch lesbian friend who gets hounded out of women's toilets, and it is heartbreaking to the point where we have to escort her into the toilet because she's going to be hounded out, and we need to stop that. And what concerns me about the toilet debate is if trans men then have to use women's toilets, that's going to make women less safe, because how are you going to stop a man, a normal man, going into a woman's toilets and saying, I'm a trans man? And so I think we have to look at
I don't follow that logic.
Why?
Because the point is that we're saying that people who are biologically men shouldn't be using women's toilets. That's the point of this ruling, among other things.
But a trans man is biologically a woman.
Someone who's transitioned from being a woman to a man is...
And so they would then have to use women's toilets.
I think this...
And that's the problem. That is the problem, and that's what concerns me.